Carlos. Reminds me of high school. Listen to it on the radio. You're gonna love that. Someday I'll play that good.
Yeah. One of these days.
Yeah, I'll take it up when I'm, 89. There we go. All right.
Warmed up?
Warmed up.
All right.
Well, hey there, John.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm well.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
You're doing well.
Thanks for asking.
What do you think about these chairs?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
That's a
What
little
are
bit too
y'all doing?
comfortable. Yeah.
How are y'all doing?
Y'all doing well.
Right.
On this Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah. All that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
You're not superstitious, are you?
No, I was born on Friday 13th.
There you go. I was born under a bad sign. Good stuff.
All right. So, John, what's on your mind today?
Bats.
Okay, bats.
Bats in my belfry.
Okay.
You know, the belfry is the tower where the bell is.
Okay.
And so bats used to hang out up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became a kind of a euphemism for if somebody was strange or a little bit off or hey, touched in the head, then they could say there were bats in their belfry because that's the top part of the body. You know, if this was a church,
Oh, I got you. Okay.
and this is steeple, and the bell tower would be the very top. And so, what's the top of me? What's the top of you? Our heads. So
Yeah.
we got bats in the belfry. That means we got hey. So
Uh,
don't do anything batty today.
Ah.
Don't be a batty person. All right. The reason that comes up is I was just wondering about being on the road and thinking about things and traveling and I think I should sit up there. This is my disc golf shirt. One of my disc golf shirts. I used to play a lot of that 20 years ago.
Weren't you a pro?
No, I wasn't a pro. I was an amateur. As in most things in life, it's okay to be an amateur. So, just kind of the theme of bats, just because bats and I have always gotten along together pretty famously.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I have several stories, but I'm only going to do one short one and one that has to do with. We'll just see about the second one. And the first one is back when I was traveling in a Volkswagen van, bought in Frankfurt, Germany. Anyway, this was back in. I was traveling from Izmir, Turkey, up through Istanbul, and with some friends of mine, went into up north, went to northern Greece, on the way down to Athens. Nice long road trip, kind of fun. And so it was late at night, pulled over the side of the road, just in the middle of nowhere, way up in northern Greece, probably up towards the Bulgarian border, way up in northern Greece, but in Greece. Pulled off the side of the road. It was a hot summer night. Everybody was tired. There was a grove of trees. We stopped, got out of the van. I grabbed
Volkswagen van.
Yeah, Volkswagen van, those slide doors, and it's great, and pulled a kind of a top part of a sleeping bag.
Okay.
It was too hot, but I walked up in front. Everybody else kind of stayed around the van a little bit. Me, I walked out about 30 feet, 40 feet. Saw there was a spot under the moon. It was
Nice.
It was at least a 3/4, if not a full. It was between somewhere in there. It was a clear night. So I threw the thing down, saw a patch of ground, threw my bag down, and it was well after midnight. So threw it down, got on it, went to sleep.
No howling at the moon before
No, no werewolves of London. No howling at the moon, barking at the moon. So anyway, little song references there, 2 of them. Asleep. Everybody goes to sleep. So I don't know how much later, hour or two later, I don't know. I was asleep. I was lying on my stomach, down, had my arm, had my head on my arm.
Okay.
I was like this. You can do that when you're young. Lie on your stomach like that. Didn't have this. So, sometime during the night, I'm awakened by this feeling that something is amiss
Okay.
here in Mordor. Something is amiss. So I'm awakened, and I come out of my slumber, out of my pleasant dreams, and I remember my arm come up. I felt there was something on my arm. So I woke up, didn't move, and I'm like, you know, you have those seconds when you're coming from sleep or something into a period of wakefulness. You know, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull has a song called "The Waking Edge." So I always like that song. And I was on that waking edge, and so I turned my head, looked, and there was something on my arm, like
And you didn't.
sitting here. But of course, I'm coming out of sleep.
Okay.
I'm like,
No subtle moves and.
no, well,
Or just
just give me a
subtle moves.
second. Give me a second on the not so subtle moves. So anyway, I look. There's something there. I don't know what it is. By the moonlight, I know it shouldn't be there.
Okay.
And I can feel something right there that's movement, just barely. So I'm just like mesmerized. I think for a few seconds, going, what the? And I'm looking, and I'm like, what is that? It shouldn't be there. And for some reason, I knew what it was.
Okay.
I thought, that's a bat. I'm just like, it's a bat. And I was like, of course, all these images come in your mind in the matter of a fourth of a second.
Okay.
You know, just from movies. That I'm going to be bitten and I'm going to turn into some kind of Dracula type creature.
Vampire.
And so I remember I was there and I went, ah! And I went, bah! I just jerked my arm. So anyway, and it was about, it was round. It didn't just fly off immediately. So I was like, I was jumping up. I was going, ah! So, you know, like, whew, and I was like, so woke up everybody else. They flipped on the lights. I happened to be in front of the van. They flipped on the lights of the van. And I was like, they go, what? And I said, oh, so there was a bat on my arm and this and this. And they go, hey, it's a crazy cycle. They're like, okay. So I'm like, okay, let's go back to sleep. So I grab my bag, I walk over to the van, and I put it right down next to the van. Go to sleep. Get up the next morning, and I'm awakened by one of the guys, I can't remember which one, said, yeah, come over here, look at this. So the sun was up, not for long, but the sun was up. So we walked over the 40 feet to where I was the night before. All right, you got this? Where I was lying the night before when the bat
friend was there, yeah.
My friend was here. And I looked down, and where I put my bag in the middle of the night and just fallen asleep was a kind of a mound. It was a huge ant mound.
Okay.
And the ants were all over the place. I'm like, whoa, dude, look at that. Ants everywhere. And I'm sitting there thinking about it, and we're looking at it, and I'm going, that's just weird. So I throw down in the middle of the night my bag. I fall asleep on an ant bed. I guess they're all asleep. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm there for however long. I don't know how long it was, an hour. But I obviously, ants weren't coming up in the middle of the night from wherever they were.
The bat did.
Bat jumps on me, wakes me up, and I move in the middle of the night. That bat saved me from getting my butt bit a million times the next morning, or waking up with ants all over. I was saved by the bat. If you want to say I was saved by the bell, if they're talking about belfry. See, I just make these weird things. I say weird things.
That's a show.
That's a show. Is that what it is? That's right. Saved by. There was some show. That's right. Saved by the Bell. That's just funny. Not so funny.
So the bat rescued you from.
The bat rescued me from imminent danger and then ant colony attack. See, so that bat was my friend in all things. We just see the world we live in, and there's certain things that happen. Well, I choose to see that. It certainly is random in one sense,
Sure.
and in another sense,
It was
that bat said, "Look at that dumb." I almost said dumbass, but I'm not going to say it.
No,
Look
you
at
can't
that
say
dumb guy lying on the ground there. Those ants down there. I guess I better go save him. So the bat came and rescued me. I can look at it that way.
Yeah.
And I can also just smile and say, I can say, well, in the great scheme of things, I can even look towards the heavens and go, well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
In the strangest way, that was just so interesting how that worked. Now, take that as you will. Take that as you will. I don't know. I don't know what you think about the great scheme of things and how things, that if we paid attention enough, if people, guys, girls, if we paid attention enough, we would be able to say, that was interesting how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Was that
Did
random?
it happen for a reason, or?
Was it totally random, or was there the hand of the maker in that, the hand of the creator, the hand of
And
the
a God? Yeah.
hand of God in that? It's just interesting how one's perspective
Sure.
is on the events of life. Idea about deliverance. I'm all about that the creator, that the maker, that God, that the resurrected one, that God has been delivering and protecting and doing things that we have no idea of, that we cannot
You
imagine.
can't fathom how grandiose all that
I
is.
think the idea being as a child to a father, a child to a parent, to mother, and the child has no idea that parent is constantly taking care of
Yes.
them and protecting them, keeping them from danger, helping them, and the child just expects it. Just think that's the way life is, and really, so many ways doesn't understand that without that constant intervention and protection in ways that they don't even see. You're like, no, you can't go out in the street. No, don't put your hand up. No, be careful on those stairs. No, don't put that in your mouth. Choke you. A million and one things. And when they're by
Constant
themselves,
guidance, yeah.
and even when they're by themselves, there is protections involved. So that's why I just think it's something interesting to think about.
So instead of a guardian angel, you had a guardian bat. Oh.
Sent by a guardian angel.
Sent by, yeah. There you go.
You never said a guardian bat. Have you ever heard that before?
Nah.
We'll have to put that out there.
Coin that phrase.
Coin that phrase. Guardian bat. And some of you might have
There's
stories.
a Batman.
Huh?
There's a Batman.
Yeah, there is. But he's
Dark. What is he called?
But he's kind of a dark
The
character.
Dark Angel. Oh.
Yeah, he's kind of the Dark Knight.
Anyway, sorry to go.
He's known as the Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Yeah. There's all of that. So we will just. Now, you want to move on to the second story about
Please,
a bat, and maybe an observation about that, and we'll just call it that. This experience, again, just to say, it was the summertime.
Okay.
It was in western Turkey. It was some volatile times. There was a lot of times I was there. There was, this is back, when I was a little bit younger. So it's not, anyway.
So we were just talking about it earlier. So you went there when it's volatile. So were you a thrill seeker? Did you just?
Oh, no.
No.
No, I was a reality seeker.
Okay.
And there's a huge difference. I'm not a thrill seeker by any sense.
Okay.
It's just that a lot of things have happened in my life. And without me trying to make it into a thrill or something like, oh, I get the rush,
Okay.
the adrenaline rush that some people go after. I was never about that. I just happened to be in a lot of situations that turned out that way. A lot of them involve a few past relationships, divorces. Well, one divorce. I've only been divorced once, and so it's like I don't like that adrenaline rush, and there's a lot of negative things that I
Sure.
apply to that as well. So I don't even know why that came up.
So things just happen,
It
huh?
was just strange that even came up. So I was in Turkey. I was with a friend.
Okay.
His name was Dennis, and we were traveling in Turkey, and we were in the Volkswagen van,
Okay.
and so it was late. You know, you would hear shots go off. You would hear about this car bomb. You would see soldiers here and there. You would there'd be stuff going on. It was very, very strange time.
War-stricken country.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of left, right, especially student violence, university violence, and between the left and the right. So anyway, just say that without getting into it. So one night, we said, in the van, we're going to sleep on the side, not on the side of the road, we're going to sleep by the ocean.
Okay.
So we went down to the Mediterranean Sea.
Not by the river.
Not a van down by the river. I see that reference. I see what you're doing.
It's all right.
Okay. So we went out to the Med, to a beach area. It was very secluded. So the van had a back that opened up like this. If you walked to the back of the van, you could open up the back part of it, and you got the inside flat, and you got a seat in the seat.
Okay.
And so I got my bag, and I was in my shorts, and I was the very back. So if you open up the back, I'm lying down at the back, looking at the ocean and the moon, kind of off the water. So it's really quite beautiful, and I fall asleep. My buddy is in the second seat, stretched across the seat that's behind me. I'm in the flat area in the back. I can't remember if we flipped a coin or what. So, asleep, quiet, nice. When suddenly, I did that on purpose. When suddenly, there was this crash that I was sleeping. I was like up, like this. You know, it's like boom, right at the edge. So I'm kind of like, what's that? I scooted up to the edge, had something. I was like looking around. My buddy was like, what was that? Whoa! We turned around, and somebody had run up, and with a huge brick boulder or something about this big, come up and just threw it through the front windshield.
No, really?
Really?
Yeah.
No crack. And threw it through the front windshield. And it was, so here's the front, 2 seats, the second seat my buddy's in, and I'm in the back. So we're just sitting there, and we're like this. Oh. 5 seconds went by. Just that first 5 seconds. When something like that happens, you're just like, what's going on? You're looking, at what's going on, under attack, whatever. So it's quiet. I'm there. I look up, and from here to where the camera is, or where over there, let's say only 10 feet. Is that about 10 feet? About 10,
8 to 10 feet, yeah.
About, let's say 12 feet away.
Okay.
Right there. So there's some trees there, right along the river, the sea, and then there's an open place. And right by the tree, this guy walks out. Walks right over in front of me, just like 5 steps. And I'm there, and suddenly he's just there in front of me. He's standing there in front of me, and we're looking at each other, and he's standing there, and he's standing like this, and he goes, and he has a gun. All of a sudden he walks up, and he pulls up a gun. He has a gun in his hand, raises up, and points it right at me. And I'm right there, and I'm sitting there in the back of the van with my legs in the bottom part of the sleeping bag. Rest is out, a t-shirt and shorts, and I'm sitting there right in front of him like this, like raised up, like I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, trouble in River City. And so I'm there, he's there, it's quiet. He's got his gun, and I'm just like, okay. I'm like, okay, here we are. And we're all waiting for a few seconds and silent. guy's pointing a gun at you. Silent. You're sitting there. So, after a few seconds of he's deciding something. He's thinking about
So you
something.
still haven't said anything at this point?
Oh no, nothing said.
Mm.
Nothing said. This is just one of the roving groups of little terrorists that
Okay.
roam around. One of the
Terrorizing people?
yeah, just people dying, and I'm like, okay. All right, Lord. I'm like, okay. It's in my just okay. Here we are.
Yeah, that's interesting.
seconds.
I was going to ask, like, what's going through your mind right now? Yeah.
Just that almost waiting. It's like you're in a moment of time that you're just waiting for the next few seconds to be revealed.
Mm.
You're in a situation where it just didn't really see where I'm going to try to do something with this around me. I'm almost like tied up for him with my legs unmovable. I'm just there like this. And it happens like that.
Sure.
I mean, you're in a situation and it just happens like that. So there's a few seconds. He's pointing the gun at me. I'm looking at him. I'm sure he's looking at me. The moonlight's behind me, so he could probably see me a lot clearer than I could see his face. You couldn't see the features of his face. Then he had the gun right there. And wait. I'm like, okay. Then I hear, there's more than one. There's more than he. There was another man
Okay.
that I heard. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but there was off to his side where he came from, and it was like said something. I couldn't make it out. And so the guys with the gun at me, he's like,
The other guy.
no, this the same guy.
Oh,
Got the
okay.
gun at me. He goes like this. I watch his head. He goes. When the guy's talking to him, goes back. Just
Huh.
pulls the gun up. Didn't go down. Pulls the gun up. He walked over to the side. And then it would. Then a few seconds, I guess they're gone. We're just assuming they're disappearing.
Huh.
They're gone. I'm like,
What
so
a
as
relief.
soon as they disappeared,
See, what a relief. Yeah. Say the least.
say the least.
Yeah.
So as soon as they're gone, my buddy Dennis, I hear some movement.
Mm.
So he has a sheet that I guess he was wrapped around him. So with all the glass in the front seat, he pushed the sheet over. That's what he did.
Mm.
Found out later. He pushed the sheet over the seat, and he climbed over, and he got over this in the front seat with the sitting in the sheet in the glass. So he didn't. He was thoughtful enough to do that. Put the sheet over there,
Uh-huh.
and I heard the van going, and so we're in sand.
Mm.
So it's like all of a sudden he just and we're like fishtailing
Yeah.
for a minute. I'm like, so here's the deal. So the top of the back is open.
Mm-hmm.
The top of the
Still, yeah.
is still open. I'm sitting there with my feet over the edge. So I kind of scoot back, and we out of there. So I grab the back as we're going on this kind of a dirt road up there. And so I grab the back.
To shut it, yeah.
Yeah. But the sleeping bag and the stuff are over the edge. So I'm sitting on it so it doesn't go off.
Okay.
But I can't shut it.
Okay.
So I'm like that. So I'm holding it down.
Mm.
So I'm like that, and I'm back in the back holding it down. Then we get on a road that has street lamps.
Okay.
So we're zooming down the road. I'm just back there going,
Hanging on for life.
A minute before that, I had a gun right at me, and the guy thinking, and then whatever. As I explained to you, there's the events that happened. So we're going down the road. So I'm in the back of the van. We're going this. Front windshield is gone for the most part. As the next day, there's a big center hole that's just set around the edge. I mean, he just with that big rock that was still in the front seat in the passenger side. And so, holding on, going down the road, when suddenly there's under street lamps,
Okay.
under street lights. When suddenly, what happens is, just in the back with me is this boom, 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 and a bat's back there just bouncing off the wall, back with me. And I'm like, It's boom, boom, boom. We're going straight, and I'm going. So the bat, with its what is it, sonar, radar,
Okay.
had going for a bug or something. Come down in front of the van, and there was an empty space. The whole front windshield wasn't there. So whatever the bat was doing just goes right into the front, and it's back there bouncing around. So I'm back there going, "Hey!" I'm like, going, "Hey, Dennis!" I said, "There's a bat back here." And he's like,
He's not listening at
He's
all.
like drilling. He's like, like
It's
Speed
going,
Racer
yeah.
when I watched as a kid, So he's just going down the road, and I'm going, "Hey!" So he really went around. So I managed to get some either shirt, something, and I threw it, and I
Okay.
actually got on top of the bat.
Okay.
So it was like, and I put it down. I was like, I'm a bit. I'm like, so here I
A lot
am
of
with a
adrenaline,
gun,
yeah.
just a minute and a half before. Now we're going down the road, and the bat's bouncing around all over me. This is something out of Keystone
That's
Cops.
unbelievable.
It's
Yeah.
just wild. It really was. Of course, at the time, I'm like, whoa! So we come down and we get to the more open area where there's people or where there's homes and houses and stuff and all that. So we slow down, and I said, "Stop!" So like that, he pulls over. Just kind of on the side of the road, and under a street light.
Okay.
I remember that. So I'm in the back, so I kind of get the side, slide out. I let it go, and it just opens automatically, and I jump out. And I'm like, and I go grab the pants, the shirt, and I go pull it out with it. And sure enough, there's a bat on the ground, takes off. I'm not going. So anyway, I'm in this weird state of mental disorder and strangeness that comes about when those everyday things happen, like it's happened to you and happened to most other people, just like that. I'm sure they have similar stories. And so we just do that, stop. I'm breathing in just this weird sort of to relive that memory, because memories are really, and experiences like that are very personal.
Okay.
That's why, again, I'm sort of it's just really interesting for me, and kind of a way it's kind of let out to get a lot of these experiences of being on the road, just to express.
Sure, yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity to do that, and
the fun little stories,
fun little stories. Yeah, yeah. So, what would be the lesson? I'm a big guy about life lessons. And where there's a life lesson, I try to understand it. And it doesn't mean you have to assign meaning to everything. Not that. I'm not. There's just you live life. But I look at major experiences or major events or something that is touch and go, like the thing with the other story with Nadana with the gun on the side of the head and this, and there's a couple other stories that are very similar that we may or may not get to. But it's this thing about life that not only on the road but anywhere we are. You don't have to be on the road. You can have a 9 to 5. You can be a stay-at-home mom. You can be whatever you are. A student. You can be retired. You just whatever you are. You don't have to go on the road like I have. And then you've gone on the road some too, but like I have and things.
So what's the lesson that you?
The lesson I try
bring
to.
to us?
I think the lesson is, once again, in my life, you can only do it for your own life.
Sure, absolutely.
Is that there are dramatic times when we know that we are under care from our Maker, and that's a very dramatic story that I told you. Again, and I don't know why he didn't pull the trigger. I don't know why the other one they didn't pull the trigger, and another one I don't know why they didn't pull the trigger. But each time I thought that the trigger would be pulled. I was like, this is it.
So you really thought it was it.
Yeah. And it just wasn't my time. And
God
I
had
mean
other
that.
plans.
And I mean that. However, the maker can do that. God, the maker that
Source and
Does-
creator and yeah.
does things, however, that the depth of his abilities is without measure. And so I choose from experience to see his hand in all those dramatic experiences. And yet, the larger drama is always with each of us. Is that like a child from a parent, from a father, a child from a master, a child from a protector, we are constantly being delivered, taken care of. And when it's our time to go, it's our time to go into the next stage of our journey, and we'll be even closer to, we're always getting closer to home. And it's just okay. That's why I don't mind getting older. And we're going to talk about that
Yes. Yeah.
another time, about getting older and aging and how we can look at that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
Excitement.
the next time. But for today, let's wrap it up. And thank
Okay.
you for sharing your stories. And
Certainly.
it's incredible ones and funny and dramatic.
So don't cuss out bats. Next time you see a bat, go, hey, you might one day be my friend. In fact,
Might say
you know,
both?
yeah, you never know what's going to go on. Or with any of God's creatures.
Yes.
With any
Exactly.
of God's creatures. Don't ever think,
Right. No matter how creepy and
Yeah.
ugly, and they're all, you're right, they're God's creatures, and we should honor all that.
So we'll leave it with, what did Gandalf say? I wrote this down. The world is not in your books and maps. It's out there. So happy traveling, whether it's just to and from work, but always look and see what's around you. And love like you are loved. Adios.